Can we, Dr. Wolfe, go back to your power? Do you have your PowerPoint
Yes.
set up?
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
You have that ready?
Yes.
Can you go forward? And I don't have them memorized, so bear with me. Can you go forward to test E? And I'm going to ask you a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
Okay, if you could scroll through, keep going, if you please, to the next slide, the next. Can you, is this a video or is this a still photograph?
It is a video.
Is this at full speed or is this slow?
This is full speed.
Okay, can you go to the next slide? Okay, go back one. This is a test at what speed?
This is the Lexus moving in reverse, contacting at 24 miles an hour.
All right. Let's go ahead and play this at full speed if we could. Dr. Wolfe, can you, that's awfully fast. Can you get to a point where you're moving frame by frame just at the point of contact?
Am I able to display my screen without doing the... I'm trying to see how I can get this to work.
If you could just move forward frame by frame rather than...
I don't know that I can in the... Oh, I missed it.
Okay. It may be more difficult than we thought. Let me ask you a couple of questions based on that. Did you review that video in slow motion as well as at full speed?
Yes, from a frame-by-frame perspective.
And in terms of a couple of different questions about that particular test, when there's impact with that right arm, what's the speed that the arm gets to upon impact?
In test E?
Right. If the car's going 24 miles an hour, what's the expected speed of the arm?
So the hand got up to a little over 24, the arm got a little over 21 miles per hour.
The debris that comes off of the tail light, the fragments, what speed would they be going at the point of impact when they crack and are released from the tail light?
At the impact speed or less.
In order to penetrate the sweatshirt and cut the arm across, would the shards have to be going faster or slower than the arm?
They would have to be going faster. If they're moving at a common velocity with the arm relative to it, they would somehow have to accelerate with more speed to catch up and go beyond the arm, essentially.
Is that physically possible?
No.
I also want to ask you about do you have in your PowerPoint the photographs of the sweatshirt at the full, what you call the full-on impact, test F as in foxtrot?
I don't have any of those in the PowerPoint.
Okay. The photo that you showed, if I could ask Ms. Gilman to show the same photograph that she showed earlier of the subsequent to test F as in foxtrot with the holes in the sleeve.
If you can.
What did she get?
Can you do that, Ms. Gilman?
Very kind.
Thank you.
Dr. Wolfe, you're shown just the left arm underneath the, whatever you call the dummy, Randy, right?
Yes.
Did Mr. Brennan show you the rest of the sweatshirt?
No.
What did the rest of the sweatshirt look like after this full-on impact when he was launched on the asphalt?
Mangled. So there was not only significant road rash to the clothing all over the torso section, the left arm, the right arm. There was holes in many different locations of various sizes. There was also just on the skin of the dummy, there was road rash on the face had been scraped. The torso had been scraped. So there was significant body damage to the torso as well.
Taking just the sweatshirt, separating that out, what about the bodice of the sweatshirt, the front of the sweatshirt? Were there holes and frays and damage to the front?
It was covered in all of those, yes.
What about the back of the sweatshirt? that also have damage?
I don't believe the back, because I think he fell onto his stomach.
What about the other arm?
Yes, both arms did.
Were the holes and frays larger than the holes, the puncture holes that you saw on John O'Keefe's sweatshirt?
Certainly larger, and again,
Your Honor, I'm going to ask to approach very briefly on an issue we discussed earlier. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
You were asked on cross-examination about some of the work that ARCCA does on behalf of private lawyers, even insurance companies, correct?
correct.
You were not hired by an insurance company. That's not who hired you on behalf of Ms. Reed or anything like that in the initial matter, correct?
Correct. It was not an insurance company.
Thank you. A couple of more questions, if it's okay with the court, Your Honor, before we break.
Okay.
Thank you. You were asked several questions about the glass and whether or not the glass weighed in on your analysis of the damage to the rear tail light, correct?
Correct.
Did you consider that the glass on the rear bumper did not match the cocktail glass that was found close to John O'Keefe's body? Or were you aware of that?
I don't think initially I was aware that there was a difference between the glass cup that was found and the glass on the bumper.
You were asked a lot of questions about the difference in the weight of the arm, and I'm going by memory, 11.8 pounds statistically as it relates to Mr. O'Keefe versus 9.4 pounds, have I got that right?
Approximately, yes.
Are you aware that anybody has ever measured the weight of just John O'Keefe's right arm?
I'm not aware of that, no.
When you were asked questions about whether or not his arm weighed 11.8 pounds, are you ever aware of anybody ever weighing just his arm?
No.
What is that based on? 11.8, where'd that come from?
I don't know.
Mr. Brennan mentioned the word statistic. Based on the statistics, his arm would weigh that much. Height, weight, etc.
Correct.
Does the statistic determine the actual weight of an arm?
No, not conclusive to what Mr. O'Keefe's arm weighed, no.
As you sit here, do you know whether his arm, John O'Keefe's right arm, if weighed by itself accurately, because pounds and apparently half pounds matter, if it weighed 11.8 pounds or if it weighed 9.4 pounds? Do you know?
I don't know, no.
Do you believe that your testing, the totality of your testing, was dependent upon those 2.5 pounds based on the weight of the hybrid fluid, or it was the arm of hybrid fluid, and the statistic of 11.8 pounds? Yes.
Sustained.
In what way does that differentiation of 2.5 pounds or approximately 2.5 pounds, in what way does that make a difference in terms of your testing?
It doesn't, and that's part of the reason why we increase the speeds to almost 30 miles an hour to look at, again, when you're bringing that much more kinetic energy from the vehicle, that's going to overcome any mass that arm has. If it, like I said, if it's a pound difference, 2 pound difference, the momentum of that vehicle moving at 30 miles an hour versus 24 miles an hour, again, kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 times the mass times the velocity squared. So even if you go up a few miles per hour, you're exponentially increasing that amount of kinetic energy from the vehicle.
You were also asked a series of questions about reducing the speed of the testing by a certain percentage. Remember those questions?
Yes.
Did that make any sense to you, mathematically? Yeah.
Sustained and effort.
What effect, if you can tell us, well, let me ask it this way. is the speed of the testing vehicle tethered in some way to the difference of that 2.5 pounds that Mr. Brennan was asking you about?
No, and again, as you saw throughout the PowerPoint, when that vehicle is coming in at 24 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, at those speeds, that arm, when it makes contact, is going to get accelerated up to that velocity. It's just going to reach that common velocity. It's not going to, you're not going to somehow affect the vehicle speed due to that, the fact that the arm weighing 10 pounds roughly, and you've got 6,000 pounds. It's not going to somehow scrub off speed of the vehicle.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this point, I would be going through a couple of photographs and videos that might be a good place to do.
Okay, I understand.